Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome back to the barn. So in this video, I eventually get to start to build the workbench slash router table for this corner of the workshop. A few days ago, I went and picked up 3 sheets of 300mm wide MFC, and I roughly cut it to length because I was doing other jobs at the same time, actually the sash window. But now I've got some time to look at the size and the setting out of this workbench, so let's make a start. Come on in. So the first thing I need to do is work out how much space I've got, or indeed how big I can make this thing. So the restrictions on this side of the arc of this window, that's kind of there. That side, of course, the saw. Now I've got this up kick curb in the floor here. From there to there is about 1300. So logically is to make it on a 1200mm module, just because that's sizes of timber. We'll say 1200mm to there. I want to make it exactly the same height as this bench, so if I make anything big and want to rest it either side, I can actually do that on the benches. That's 90mm above the bench height. That height minus 90mm, which is there. So that gives me a worktop height of, gives me my leg there, and it gives me my other leg there. So that is the size of the bench. Then I'm thinking of making the leg, the fixed bit 300mm, which is there, and then the table 600mm, which brings me out to 900mm. The jamb of the window there is about 570. 900 is there. So if I centralise my router, so 600mm from that wall there, that should then give me enough room to pass timber through here for that extra space. Now the thing I want to achieve today is to build these 2 towers that are going to house my Systainers. If I just place them there, that'll just give me an idea. Now as you can probably see there, there's a gap under the bottom of this board, and that's because when I built this wall, I built it from there, that point up, and left a little gap because the flower bed is at the other side of here, and at some point I want to chop off these boards at the bottom. I'm going to do it from outside rather than inside, but I just need to negotiate with the gardener the best time to do it. So let's just stack my Systainers up in these 2 positions, and if I'm really lucky I'll have some space left for more Systainers. Might have to ask the gardener again about that one. $380mm. I've got enough room for another 2, another 4, 2 each side. Wonder what I could get. Okay, right, don't get ideas above your station. Now most importantly is this gap in between, and that's because that's where the router is going to drop in there. Well, I think that's enough room. There's always 2 trains of thought in my mind about designing things like this. Number one is you go on something like SketchUp or Fusion 360 and design it in there. But to be honest, I find that quite laborious doing that, and it touches too much onto my day job. Don't really want to spend a load of time sat at a computer. Or you come out, use a bit of tactility and do it, and just build it. And this is one of the reasons why I like to build things out of melamine, because relatively it's cheap. I think the 3 sheets cost me less than €30. So if Mark 1 doesn't turn out too good, then it's not that much money wasted and I can have another go at it. I much prefer problem solving, hands-on in here, than I do sat at a computer and fretting about 3 or 4mm of spacing. I am thinking that I will build the top of the tower unit lower than this, so there'll be a top there. I'll need a frame to support it, and then this top, and the same here when I get this top coming out, 18mm is not thick enough for this router. I need 25mm. So really what I need is an 18mm sheet, nosing round, a little frame underneath which will help the hinging process. So I'm thinking I'll go this datum, less 18mm, less 20mm or 21mm for my frame. Surprise, surprise, parquet floor. And then this. I think I've got enough measurements now to build these 2 stacks. Then I'll have to go shopping for the rest of the materials. It's real-time brainstorming, but that's absolutely what I love about woodwork, working things out. This is the philosophy of my woodwork. Just build it and work it out as you go along. Design and build. Make the first prototype. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, see what you can improve. It's all about the delta. Okay, so I'm quite happy how this looks at the moment. There's just a couple of things I want to do in the rest of this video before we finish. Make 2 undertops that fit in here, and also just 2 shelves that fit. As good as these Systainers are, when you've got a stack and you want something in the middle one, or you want the middle box, then having to move them all out and back again is a bit of a pain. So I'm just going to make a movable shelf, and then I can have 2 and 1. This one and this one has got hand tools in, things I don't use too often but do use. I keep getting the domino out and the box of dominoes. Now when I make my 600 wide drop down, the router is going to drop somewhere probably between about there and about there. So I can have a shelf in there for something, and I can have a cubby hole in there for something. So I'll see what materials I've got left. Hopefully I've got enough to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. This is going to have a ladder frame top on it. I'm going to set a couple just under here. Insert a couple of shelves under the level of this, so I have a little recess. And the reason is that when I eventually finish this, the top's going to have MFT doggles in, and all the mess falls through the MFT doggles, so it'll give it something to fall into. My idea is to make 3 little tiny drawers that I can just slide in, and then when they're full of sawdust or screws, or I've lost a tool through them, I can just pull them out and empty them. So there we are then. Not a good spot to sit here with the sun. So there we are, the under unit for the new workbench. I'm quite happy with that. Not taken too long, probably 4 hours maybe. So I've got stacks for my Festool tools. I've got stacks for toolbox. We've got the cubby hole for the router. Got a couple of adjustable shelves that I haven't fitted yet because just need to pick up some of the little pins. I'm sure I've got room for another 2 Festools, but as much as I love my Festool stuff, I'm not quite sure what I'd buy now. Major expense I need is some new drills. The DeWalt ones are running out. I've got 2 DeWalt drills, 2 impact drivers. The impact drivers are fine, but the 2 drills are pretty much at the end of their life. One smokes if you give it a lot of work to do, and the other one, the chuck keeps just dropping the bit, so I need to buy some more. But for the sake of €100, £100, €100 to buy a new drill that fits the batteries, that's probably the way to go. If I go and buy the Festool ones and the batteries, then it's probably what, €500-600. It's tempting as it is to have a nice new drill. It seems a little bit of an unnecessary expense. So I need to go shopping now to buy the next part. I need some more timber, parquet floor, and I need another piece of melamine. So I've got a 300mm top to go on here with some MFT holes in, and the idea is that I can mount permanently my bench dog rail and square here, so when this bit drops down I can still leave this mounted. We'll see if that works when we get round to it. Then I need a 600mm top, in which I'll router the Craig router plate for the Triton router, and a couple of T-tracks for the sled and other bits and pieces I have, and also for the router fence I'm going to use that new router fence I have on this router. The only unknown at this point, and it's the same problem I had with the fold down workbench in the loft, is how to support it when it's in the upright position. Do I just put a couple of legs on it, or do I try and design some fancier understructure which still serves the same purpose but might look nice? Once I get all this hung and swinging, then I can work that out. The issue is that the floor is slightly uneven. If you've seen that piece I put down there at the bottom, so at some point I need to put some leveler down there. What I was thinking was some like gate legs like you see on a drop down table, which would fold up against this when it's down. The only issue I've got with that is with the floor being so uneven that when it's in it needs to be a certain length to be in the closed position, but then when I open it to the open position, then it'll be too short. The other option is to do a similar thing but with two gallows brackets that fold up, then it's not relying on the floor. But I'll work that out when I get the structure sorted. So I need to go shopping for next week's video. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see this build and the rest of the workshop transformation, then please consider subscribing. And until next time, see you later. Bye.